Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's John Knight, the president of FFL Knights, and we're so glad you guys were able to join us. And we have a special guest, uh,
Special.
Neil Mcminn from is the president of FFL American Omega Group, and I'm so excited, Neil, that we finally got you on here. So how you doing, buddy?
Terrific, bud. How about you?
Good, good, good. So, guys, we just want to get on here and talk to Neil a little bit about his career. He's had a very storied career with a couple different companies. So, Neil, your best month and your best team month, and tell us a little bit about your background
Yeah.
in the industry.
Yeah. So my background is actually in aviation. I'm a pilot. I have a degree in aeronautics. And the plan was to be, a pilot for an airline. However, about 5 months before I graduated with my degree, I blew up my eardrum. So I can't pass a first class medical. I have really bad vertigo issues, that sort of thing. So long story short, I actually started law school after that. And with about $142,000 in student loans,
Wow.
I was also managing a gym at the time.
Mm.
And my buddy, who was a chiropractor in chiropractic school, actually was selling insurance, and he got me into it. And my first year, I did really well, part time. And I was like,
Mm.
well, why not, just continue this? I enjoy helping people. I enjoy leading people. I enjoy the complexities of the product, and then the underwriting process. And so that was 2003, and I haven't looked back since.
Wow.
And then as
So,
far as my best month personally,
Mhm.
53 families helped. And then our best month as a team was just under 900,000, or sorry,
Oh,
900 families helped.
900 films. Awesome. Awesome. So obviously you've been in the industry for over 20 years with a lot of success, and you could basically work for anyone. Why FFL?
So, that's kind of a unique question, John, to be honest, because we don't work for FFL.
Hmm.
And I think that's why I came to FFL, is that we're all independent. Um, there's something, my parents, my wife, people that know me really well will tell you this about me, that I hate having a boss.
Hmm.
I hate having someone tell me what to do, especially when they either haven't done it, can't do it, or haven't done it in over 30 years and have no idea what they're talking about. But somehow, they're supposed to tell me how to do what I'm supposed to do. And so that's always been kind of a streak within me. And so the beautiful thing about Family First Life is that we don't have a boss. Now, that can be a good thing and a bad thing for most people, but the
Hmm.
beautiful thing about Family First Life is that we have anybody and everybody with different skill sets and success levels, that we can reach out to and have direct access to for help. I think the number one thing is, in our industry, John, it's so common for, and you don't know what you don't know, but it's so common for agents to be paid, 30, 40, 50% commission, and think that's a good thing, right? The practice
Absolutely.
company I came from, you topped out at an account executive at like 42% commission, and then there was a monthly bonus that didn't add up out to much. But if that's all you experienced, you didn't know any better, and you thought you were doing really well. And then for us to be able to help the people that we can, at 100% commission or more, and our carrier contracts go up to 145%. John, it's just, I mean, for me, it was a no brainer, being able to open up the door and help more people achieve, financial freedom, and help more of their clients with more products, more carriers, better underwriting options. It was a no brainer. Everybody wins with Family First Life.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Um, and why do you think people stay at those companies, even though they're truly not happy? Because I know, I was with a practice company before, right around what you're talking about, 30 to 40%. And I know I couldn't put my head up, to even almost look at another opportunity. So why do you think people stay even though they're not happy?
Well, I think what's built into those cultures first and foremost is, you can't put your head up, because you have that fear of, if I do put my head up, number one, I'll lose momentum and then I'll fall back into being behind. Or, um, there's that fear of retribution and retaliation. I was constantly told at my previous company that I was replaceable, right?
Wow.
And that weighs on you, right? And that style of management. But then on top of that, I think people just get comfortable with relationships at
Yes.
at those companies. And what's weird is I always was like, people stay for the low comp and different things like that. And they're like, well, I get trips every year and I've got my, quote unquote happy family company. And I'm like, what about your
Yeah.
own family?
I know. I
Well, your
know.
kids who you can't pay their bills, and you can't, there's no way you're going to pay for college, and the lifestyle that you're telling them they're going to have, because you're working for 30, 40, 50%. Imagine just doing this same job but getting paid twice as much. What about your own family? So I think it ends up also being a crutch for people because they know that, getting out there and doing something different requires effort. And what
Yes.
they're doing, they just might be comfortable in the minimal amount of effort they have to put in.
Absolutely. Why do you think it's so important to become financially successful?
Yeah.
Because
So,
obviously the world is not about just money, but the byproduct of what it does. But why do you think that's important?
yeah. So, that's a good question. And financially successful means different things for different people, right?
Mhm.
It could be for some people, and I've had to learn this because my definition of financially successful might be completely different from someone else's, right? And in leading people, I think it's important to understand what their definition of financial success or financial freedom is, because some people it might just be making sure their bills are paid, and then they consider themselves financially successful. Some people might be, hey, just pay off this credit card or that car. Um, and I think it's important first to understand what it means for the person you're leading, but then number two, what that person's willing and not willing to do to get there. But ultimately, it's important to be financially successful because you don't want to be beholden to someone,
Yes.
right? As I mentioned at the beginning, I hate when somebody else has something to hold over my head, right? That you owe me for this, you owe me for that. And I think the position of being able to, um, for lack of better terms, tell somebody, hey, take a hike because I don't need you or I don't need
Right.
that, right? And you can't make me do something I don't want to do, is so powerful, right? And then the ability to know that your family is going to be okay, that they don't have to want or worry. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be jets and private jets and Ferraris, but the
Yep.
ability to say, you know what, we're not going to make an important decision based on something financial in this family, right? We're
Yep.
not going to decide you can't have this medical procedure done because of a financial decision. You can't do this thing that you really want to do from maybe it's a dance or an instrument or something educational because we can't afford it, right? I think that's huge.
It so is. So some people may say that 10 families a week, and now I guess it's almost 20 families a week because that's where we're getting to is impossible. Why is it happening so consistently with Family First Life?
Well, I mean, ultimately, John, first is it's believable,
Hmm.
right? And I think to be able to achieve anything, you have to be able to see other people around you do it. And we have a plethora of people not only helping 10 families a week, but 10 families in a day,
Yes.
more and more. Um, people helping, I mean, heck, 100,000 families. I mean, it's just incredible what's going
Hmm.
on. But then I think in addition to that, you have to have the resources, right? So we have an abundant amount of leads, whether they're in the CRM, which those leads are so plentiful, to all the different lead vendors we have relationships. We have clients that are requesting information and requesting that we come help them with insurance. We don't have to go up the street, down the street, and to every place of business like you and I used to have to do. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's 107 degrees in Florida right now, and it rains every afternoon. I
That's
used to
right.
put on a suit and tie and go up and down the street and get soaking wet all day, whether it be sweat or rain or a combination of the two, just to try to achieve our goals. And was completely willing to do that because that's how I thought it was done. But here we have a ton of leads. We have every carrier that is A rated or better, 100+ year old companies, all household names, and so we don't have to sell insurance, right? We
Hmm.
truly can help people. And I think once that clicks for someone, helping 10 families in a week is kind of like an average week, right?
Yep. Yeah. That's why I think it's closer to like 20 or like you said, 10 a day. So
Mhm.
why do you think people are not more financially successful?
So I think it goes back to mindset,
Hmm.
right? If you've never been financially successful, it's hard to just all of a sudden, even when you're making money,
Hmm.
right? And I think it goes back to what's your attitude towards money, right? Is it, my whole family has always thought that money is evil, and we've always kind of come from a lack of background, right? A lack of, not necessarily, there was no abundance,
Hmm.
right? It was always, we just never had enough kind of thing. And so there's a negative relationship with money. And so even when we have it, we don't treat it right,
Hmm.
right? We tend to spend it on things, right, that we don't need and that can't help us, right? Let's go on this vacation. Let's get this TV. Let's get this PlayStation. Da 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 da. And then all of a sudden it's gone, but not a dime of it was spent on anything that's going to keep that money growing, right? It wasn't invested into anything. Um, then there's also that kind of fear that is surrounding money, right? False expectations appearing real.
Yes.
um, that once I get it, I'm never going to get it again. So again, I treat it weird. Um, and so I think a lot of it goes back to, one, your relationship with money, your past with money, and then realizing that yes, money can't buy happiness, but the stuff that it can come, the security that it can provide, and the peace of mind, and the things that you can do with it, the people you can help with it, that's where the happiness comes from. So. Um, but then I think beyond that, having a structure and having mentors and having people around that can help guide you into true financial freedom, as opposed to, you see some of these companies where everybody's flossing their Rolexes and their cars and their houses and all this kind of stuff. And, that's what people ultimately want, because unfortunately Americans are typically trivial, and, they're focused on things, materialistic.
Hmm.
Um, and there's not enough thought and even taught, information or teaching given around, financial security and investing and different things like that. So I think having the right environment where people are talking about, being better, doing better, and helping each other in that regard, I think is extremely important as well.
Perfect. What's one tip that you would give someone that's been here for a while to stay successful?
So that's a really good question. Um, Somebody that's been here for a while, that's already achieved success, you're saying?
Yes, and to continue that success, because you know how
Yeah.
sometimes success can almost be bad for some people too. It can make them
Yeah, always.
complacent.
We've all
Yeah,
been there, and if you haven't been there, you
yeah.
will be. Um, that's a really good point and a great question. I think you've got to make sure that you're constantly challenging yourself and staying outside of a comfort zone. Once you get comfortable, whether it's financially or just you kind of feel like, hey, I know the answers to a lot of this stuff, that's where red flags should really start to fly up. You're not studying enough. You're not challenging yourself. There's always a product or a carrier you can know. Odds are you're probably not recruiting, right? You're not bringing new blood into the team, and therefore you don't have people challenging you because you're kind of just maintaining the status quo. And then also you're not reinvesting back into your business to make it build, right? And so you might be putting money into a bank account and feel financially secure there, but if you look at your business, if you're not constantly pumping money into the business to help it build and help it grow and help it thrive, then look out, because you're in for a cliff dive at some point.
Yep. And I think it comes like slowly, like
100%.
it's kind of like that slow deterioration, if you're not doing that. So what about a tip for someone that's just starting out with us? Because I know a lot of times, people are starting or they're trying to figure out this whole new thing that they're doing. What do you think is a tip, especially from someone that's been in the industry for a while?
Yeah. So, first of all, I'll say don't depend on anyone, right? Because it's you. Nobody here or nobody anywhere can, will, or wants to do the push-ups for you, right? So don't fall into that trap of I'm waiting for someone to show me, or I'm waiting for somebody to tell me what to do, right? You've got to pay your bills for your family. This is so simple. It really is. It's get leads, call the leads, set appointments, and go help people, right? And that's it. And when you're in the home, if you run into a question, that you need help with, there's so many avenues you can call, right? Call your upline, call your VP, call our 1-800 number that's available 24/7. There's always somebody there to help, but I think there's too much of the analysis by paralysis or paralysis by analysis that agents have. They want to not look like a fool in front of a client, and they end up going broke before they even get off the ground, right? Because they're just too afraid, or they're too smart, or their ego is too big,
Yes.
and have to go through the learning curve. And I think the other thing would be, John, for somebody that's new, is get to 100 presentations as quickly as possible, right? It doesn't matter if you have one carrier, right? If it's Prosperity or Americo, it doesn't matter if you have 20 carriers, right? Get to 100 in-home face-to-face presentations as possible. I think virtual sales is great for people that absolutely have to be in virtual sales, right? Maybe a single mom that has to work from home, somebody doing this part-time. Yes, gas is expensive right now, but none of that, unless it absolutely has to and you're new, should prevent you from getting to 100 face-to-face presentations as quickly as possible, because that's where you're learning, that's where your growth all is going to happen, right? And you'll blow through that learning curve, and then also reach up and reach out for help, right? Don't reach out to somebody that's doing the same as you or worse than you for help, right? Don't commiserate with people, right? Always reach out to somebody that's doing what you want to do. And then beyond that, we have so many resources here for training. The only reason someone can't or isn't or won't be successful with Family First Life is because they're just not doing anything. All you have to do is look on your phone instead of thumbing through stupid TikTok reels or Instagram reels, whatever. Just watch a podcast or a YouTube from FFL and learn something, and then duplicate it. And so I would say be kind of a just avid consumer of FFL content. Again, your first 90 days while you're going through those first 100 presentations, and it's amazing the progress that'll happen.
And we're going to kind of go on the flip side. What would be your advice or maybe a tip to someone to turn it around when they're struggling? Because obviously we get in here, we might get in our head. We might have a challenge that happens or a few challenges. And just to help that turn that around, if they're struggling.
Yeah, no, that's a great question too. And I don't think it's talked about enough in terms of just the reality of, yes, it happens. And, why does it happen in those things? But I think first and foremost is faith, right?
Yes.
I think you put your faith in the Lord, and, you seek, that guidance. And I think from there, then if your focus is truly helping people, right? Take your focus off of you and focus on how many people can I impact and help today, right? Just purely and simply that. And if your focus is right, then your activities will be right, and then the results will be right. Because at the end of the day, we cannot control results. And in the sales, industry, anything, we tend to fall into that trap of focusing on results, and then it ends up being something we can't control. And so I think make your focus right, keep your faith centered, focus on helping people, and then incremental changes, right, or incremental steps. But then from there, make sure that you're not being a secret agent, right? Too many agents, when they fall out of kind of sync, they go hide.
Yes.
Right? They avoid calls. They don't participate anymore. They end up with this chip on their shoulder, or this attitude of, whatever, those guys are having success, I'm not. And so they stop doing the things that they were doing to become successful in the first place. And then it just spirals, right? And then it becomes this space inside their head that they can't get out of, right? And they can't get out of their own way. And that's why a lot of people end up, they find reasons to quit.
Yes.
Right? Oh, my manager this. Well, we don't have managers here. We just don't.
Yeah.
Right? Regardless of what somebody's title is, you and I don't have a boss, John.
That's right.
You can tell us what to do as long as it's great for the agent, it's great for the client, and it doesn't hurt the company. We don't have bosses, right? And I think we have to remember that, and remember that our number one purpose is to serve the clients in our community, and then serve the agents, right? That we're tasked to help grow, so they can achieve their personal, professional, financial goals.
Absolutely. And I've actually talked to a couple agents about that, like the fact that, hey, you got to cheer other people on even when you're going through things. And that's when to plug in the most, because obviously it's just one small thing or a couple small things that's causing you to have, those struggles. So
Well, it's that law of attraction too, right?
yeah.
It's about that. The more you put out, positive or negative, that's what you get back. So if you're constantly cheering people on, other people are going to cheer for you, right? And then it's going to come back to you. But the same thing is true with the opposite. The more negativity you put out and the more recluse you become, the lack of success becomes greater.
Yep, absolutely. So guys, I'm so thankful and I'm so appreciative for Neil. He's just been, I mean, I've been in the industry for a long time, but just to be able to learn even more from him, he's just a great person. So we've actually partnered up to help families with life insurance and retirement products. So if someone needs protection and they're close to you and want to partner with us, how do they actually get in touch with you?
Yeah. So, first and foremost, obviously directly. I love having direct conversations with people. So reach out direct. You have it scrolling there at the bottom, 386-848-2251. Send me a text, give me a call directly. You can reach out to FFL American Omega Group on Instagram, FFL AOG or _ AOG, and then FFL American Omega Group on Facebook as well. So any social media channels, reach out. But regardless, here to help.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Neil, for jumping on and sharing with us. We appreciate you.
Likewise,
take care, man.
Yeah, and honestly, John, before we hang up, man, I just want to say that it's such an honor and a privilege, and it's been such a treat, to partner with you in business as well. And I think everybody you connect with, right, whether it's your clients or the agents that you're working with and helping them grow their business, I think is better off for it, right? Whether it's a short period of time or a long period of time, I think anybody that comes in contact with you ends up coming away a better person. And so I just want to thank you for that on behalf of not only myself and my family, but the rest of the team, buddy.
Thank you, brother. You're definitely my brother. Brother from another mother.
That's right, man.
All right, man. Well, you take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, take care. Bye.